If you're looking for information on how to travel to Germany during this time and what the process was for us, then stick around and I will get to all of that very soon. Hi guys, welcome back to Stephan. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe and help our channel grow. So today I will be talking about our move to Germany, how we did it and what process we went through. And I will also be talking about what is possible as far as travel to Germany during this time with coronavirus. The inspiration for today's video actually came from TikTok. I started posting a lot of videos on TikTok on our journey of moving from California to Germany. And through this process, it sparked a lot of interest. The biggest question I've received so far on TikTok is, how did you make this move to Germany? So the first part of this video will be who we are, introduction to Stephan, and how we moved to Germany, what the decision process was. And the second part of the video will be the coronavirus and the travel to Germany, what is currently happening and what are the requirements, who can travel, who cannot travel. The third part of this video will be what to expect when you do travel to Germany. So Stephan is a brand. We are a clothing brand, a unisex brand. It's based out of Germany. We started our brand 4 years ago, so it's a fairly young brand. And our focus was to make it as high-end as possible. And that's why we chose Germany, because we went around a lot of different places to see where we can get the best quality. And Germany was the best quality as far as production. And we wanted to be in southern Germany as far as living, because we purchase all of our fabrics from Milan. We literally go there ourselves, we hand select the fabrics. That's why for us it really makes sense to be in Germany. We planted the seed actually for this 6 years ago, and 4 years ago we started the brand. 2 years ago we decided to make the move to Germany, and a year ago we decided to start the renovations in our home in Germany. So it's been a challenge, but at the same time, it's been rewarding as well. So now we're going to jump into the next part of this video, which is travel to Germany during COVID. For us, it was a bit easier because we are married and Stephan is German. So the paperwork that we had to provide was our marriage license. We got to the airport, they verified our marriage license. Once we gave them that, then it was pretty smooth sailing from there. When we arrived in Germany, there was no questions asked. I'm not sure if there was communication between when we left Germany, or maybe they put something in the notes or not. I have no idea. But we arrived and they didn't ask us any questions, and it was pretty easygoing. US is on the list as far as a risk area in Germany. So that's why there is a travel ban currently from USA to Germany. But if you are watching this video in a different country, what I would recommend is that you go onto a website called rki.de. On this website, there will be a list of all of the countries which are considered currently a risk area. And this updates frequently, so I would recommend before you travel, you check. And if it's a risk area, then you need to go to a different website and figure out what are the requirements for that specific country. There are specific requirements for US. Here you can see that US is on the list, and it's been on the list for a while. And so this website is recommended by the German officials, and it's updated frequently, so I would check there first. So now, as far as who can travel to Germany, and this is also in multi-parts. First, we'll cover the professions. So there is a huge laundry list of specific professions that are allowed to travel to Germany. So if it's considered imperative, then you are allowed to travel to Germany. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes at the same time. It's a lot of information to memorize. If you're a skilled worker, such as IT is listed on here, medicine is listed on here, scientists, researchers, if you have employment transfer, also students which are registered in a university in Germany or a school in Germany are able to travel to Germany as long as they have their proper paperwork as far as proof that they are registered, that they are going to school. So if you have that paperwork, then you're able to travel to Germany. Immediate family members of German citizens are also able to travel to Germany as long as they have a reason enough and proof that they need to be in Germany for whatever reason. Extended family, however, of German citizens that are living abroad cannot travel to Germany. Now, I mentioned earlier that for us it was pretty smooth sailing because we were married. As far as unmarried couples where one person is currently living in the USA or abroad and is in a long-term relationship with a German citizen can also travel to Germany, and what they need to do is show proof of their relationship, and this is the form that you would fill out. And in this form, basically they ask for information of your partner in Germany, their ID, address, and a declaration that you have been in a long-term relationship. And you also need to provide some sort of proof, as far as it could be photos or it could be some sort of proof that validates that you have been in a long-term relationship with this person. Now let's get to our experience of traveling to Germany, what it was like. So when we arrived at LAX, Los Angeles International Airport, and it was very empty. There was no lines to check in. We flew Lufthansa business class, and typically business or first class, there isn't a huge line. There was literally no one in the line. We went in, we checked in. When I handed them my passport, they immediately asked why am I traveling to Germany, and our response was that we're traveling there together, we're married. Immediately they asked for our marriage license, and we handed it over to them. They took it in the back, they inspected it and so forth. They came back and everything was fine. Then we went up to the security. When we got to the security area, right before you get there, there was a little sectioned off area where everyone had to walk through. They were only letting one person in at a time in this, I would say, 20 by 20, kind of like a square area. And when you walk in, there was a policeman with a German Shepherd. And my immediate thought was maybe they're checking for drugs, but that wasn't the case. So apparently this was a coronavirus checking dog. And so one person would go in, they would ask you to walk very slowly to the other end of this area. The dog would then circle around you and sniff you completely. And that was it. So then if everything was fine, you would just continue walking. So that was very interesting. It felt a little creepy, a little weird, but then at the same time, it's better to be safe and whatnot. When we got to the security line, it was like literally, I think, a handful of people that were there. So that was really quick. There wasn't any extensive checks and so forth. So that was fairly simple and straightforward. Then we went into the terminal. We went in early because the new lounge in Tom Bradley is really nice. And when we flew the last time, we had just opened and we had a really good time there. So then we figured, okay, let's go an hour earlier so we can spend an hour in the lounge, get something to eat, get a drink. So we were looking forward to that. We went up to the lounge and the lounge was closed. That's when we found out that all of the lounges were closed due to COVID. Then we came back down into the main terminal, and all of the restaurants were closed as well, with the exception of, I think there was Panda Express, a Mexican bar / restaurant that was open, and one Italian place which had wine and little pizzas and so forth. And then when we got to our gate, that was also very creepy because we were literally the only two people in our gate. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, we must have the wrong gate. And we checked multiple times it was the right gate. And there was no one there. About an hour before the flight, that's when a few people showed up. And once we boarded the flight, we found out that we only had 52 passengers on this international flight. So that was pretty insane. The food was really good on the plane. Everything else was the same, except you had to wear a mask, which was actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I have heard, though, some flights do not serve food at all. The only thing missing in Lufthansa was that they did not serve anything with ice. So they were not allowed to have ice. Everything that they served had to be sealed and packaged and so forth. So that's why they were not allowed to have ice. Then right before we landed, they handed us a registration card, which I've never seen before. So this is for COVID. So we filled out the form. But you don't need to fill out this form. You need to go online and fill out the form. They will tell you, even now on the website, it says you can fill out the form, paper form, or you can register online. When we landed at the airport and when we went through the process of submitting our form, they were like, nope, we don't accept paper form. You have to fill it out online. At that point, you can take a COVID test. So let me back up. So that was an option for us. We could take a COVID test upon exiting, or we quarantine at home for 14 days. We opted for the test. We just wanted to be safe, so when we meet our friends, we've already had the test and so forth. And they didn't do the nose swab, but they did the throat swab, which was really easy. It didn't hurt at all. I would say it took like 10 seconds. So we did the test, it didn't cost us anything, and then we were on our way. Now, the regulations, based on what I read online, that has changed. So when you travel, I highly recommend that you check those regulations because they keep changing. As of November 11th, I believe, they have changed those again, where now the quarantine time, it's 10 days rather than 14 days. Or it can be less if you opt for a COVID test, because you need to go home and wait 5 days. After 5 days, then you take the test. And then if you're negative, then you don't have to quarantine, or you quarantine for 10 days. So that's the information that's there right now. I will put a link of these websites down below, so it's easy to access for you guys. If you have any questions, you can DM me or leave a comment below and I will get to that as well. So guys, thank you very much for watching. This brings us to the end of this video. I hope this was helpful and hope that it has answered some of your questions. To the followers that I have on TikTok, I know I didn't get to all of the questions, and there is still a lot of interest out there of why and how and what we did as far as the other part of moving to Germany and why Germany and so forth, which I will get to in one of my next videos very soon. So thank you again for watching. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys next week.